Hey everybody, I'm Forbes Riley and welcome to the show. You know, I grew up dancing. I love dancing. I was a little tap dancer, ballet dancing. I just love it. And to this day, whenever you turn on music, I feel better. But so many of you, you think of dancing, you're like, oh, I have to go to a club, I don't know how to move, or you're stuck in some time period, you have that one move. What if I told you that dancing, the art of moving through space with music, is healing and transformative? I would like you to meet my next guest, Jacia Kornwise. Welcome to the show, my beautiful girl.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here.
It's quite a treat. I met you a while back, and I've been intrigued by your story, by your presence, and it's awesome to have you here.
What a gift.
So when I talk about dancing, what does that mean for you?
Not what most people think dancing means. I fell in love with dancing because it was the place I could actually be myself. I don't dance by practicing steps or learning routines. It's all about getting present by letting everything else go and finding my freedom, my creativity, my safety, my joy. It all comes right through that. It's an amazing way to shake things off and move things through. And it's actually a deep dive in my life. It went from something I love to do to something that really saved my life.
Saved your life. Now, have you always been dancing?
Well, my grandma used to, when I would rock, I would like soothe myself with rocking. And she's caught that I like to move, and she'd be like, "Aka-chika chika," you know, she'd be dancing out there, "Aka-chika chika." My dad, I'd be dancing on his shoes as a big, tall guy. So I had really warm, loving associations with dance for the most part. But I also had trauma with dance, you know, being left on a dance floor by the cutest guy and like made fun of, you know, all sorts of stories with dance. But I would go down the basement with my brother and I would dance. And my family would put on music, we'd dance. It was always fun. So I had an association. Association
Say it, okay.
Of fun.
So you had an association with dance, but you have a very unique story. So let's start at the very beginning, because we'll get to in a minute how dancing saved your life. And you're going to want to listen to this. When you were born, something was a little different about you. What was it?
So I was born blind in my left eye. It was just, they call it it's like a mini eye. Essentially, it never developed.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how did that, when you grew up, so that's kind of an issue, because your parents made it a bit of an issue, I guess, and that's not really fair. Anything that's different about a kid, it's so hard. I mean, I have twins, and I remember the first thing you count their fingers and toes. Exactly. And for a lot of parents, things aren't the norm. And so when it's not that, there's no handbook on how to raise kids. So
100%.
How did it affect you when you were little?
Yeah, you know, you really do internalize what's wrong with you. Even if my mom and dad didn't mean to, they're looking at me with worry. How's the world going to treat our beautiful baby, right? So, and of course they wanted to protect my one eye that could see. So they put me in these really thick glasses, both eyes, and tinted them, thinking if they tinted it, it would match the shape of my eye and magnified it. So I suddenly became a nerd who was put behind lenses. You know, I went through surgeries. All these ideas left me feeling that there was definitely something wrong with me. I wasn't going to fit in. I wasn't going to find love. Certainly could never be here with you on a camera or on a stage. I could never act. All these limiting beliefs went in there. I would never find love because people like people with matching eyes and
wow,
all that.
You proved all of that wrong, didn't you?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Because you've accomplished some pretty beautiful things in your life. What are some of the things that people should look at you and go, you know, I didn't know you could do that?
Gosh, well, recently I was on the TEDx stage. I published a 3-time award-winning and a book, and I self-published it. It wasn't even done by anyone else.
Wow.
And I've been working for 30 years, helping people, inspiring people to fall back in love with themselves, or maybe for the first time, listen to their intuitions, get in their bodies, release stress and trauma. It's been quite an amazing journey.
So many people want to be on the TEDx stage, and you did it. What did you talk about?
Well, that leads a really great question. So the title of the talk is called Grounding Your Way Through Fear. But essentially, I talked about, and I didn't go into great detail on the stage about this piece, but a PTSD breakdown that I had after having been kidnapped, raped, and assaulted and taken hostage by multiple men when I was 27.
Okay, so let's stop right there for a second, because I knew that bomb was coming, and I don't think our audience did. Something happened to you. You and your boyfriend were somewhere, and what happened?
We were unpacking drums. I'd been dancing on stage with his band, and suddenly there were two guns at our heads. They locked my boyfriend in my trunk and forced me at gunpoint to drive off. Took me out of that car, threw me in theirs, and I went through an entire night, 4 hours worth of horror.
Now, what's unique about when you tell the story, though, because I have to say, I've been through some things. My mother was held up at gunpoint at the house, and something bad in life is liable to happen to you. And I think I want you to pay attention, because just because it hasn't happened doesn't mean it won't. And if it has, if this is triggering, by all means, make sure that you get and talk to somebody. But so this has, well, that's what you're doing. I totally get it.
Yeah.
So you're going through this experience. Now, what you shared, and I think it's important, and I hope you don't mind going there, is that it could have been worse. You saved yourself within that environment, and I want you to share with my audience how that happened.
Well, I believe my background, I spent my life dedicated. I got my master's in counseling psychology, master's in coaching, and a lot of inner work, dance and breath work. But the reality is that I used my intuition. It just led me to bond and find out where was the humanity. Was there humanity in either of my captors? And I was able to convince one of the men, be it partial verbally and partially energetically, to not kill me, and to get the other one to not take me to a gang rape where I knew I would die, or shoot me, turned me around, and instead I convinced them to go back to my house and rob my house. And I convinced him to find love for a woman in his life. Was there any woman that you still love? Did you love your mother? Would you want this to happen to her?
Did you just, I'm so proud of you for being able to do that, because there's a moment when you're faced with trauma where you can give up or move forward. Yeah. What was that transition for you?
That's a profound battle, actually, because and this is part of what I've understood and why it's so important to move things through the body. We have so many deep stories, and the percent to which you're still carrying negative beliefs about yourself, that stuff is there, like, this is your time to exit. You could feel the dark mind come up, the demons, if you will, and then you could feel the part that says, no, you have the power to change this. And I could almost feel it's like things got quiet and I just got directed by truth.
And you convinced one of them or both of them to go rob your house and to not take you to what might have been your death.
I absolutely knew it.
And at that moment, something kind of miraculous happened for your boyfriend. What happened?
My boyfriend was able to finally unlock himself from the trunk and call the police, and they asked for my address immediately just in case this was the case. And all of a sudden there were sirens after a while. I'd been in the house with them probably about 20 minutes, and they heard them and they were like, oh shit, we better run, excuse my language. But it was just about that, we are going to run out of here. And they left me tied up in
But they caught the guys.
They caught the guys.
And I'm just going to share with you, as a mom who went through some stuff and a murder, there's a moment, if you're lucky enough, no one ever got caught in my mom's case, but yours did. And they went through a trial. They spent a fair amount of time in jail. Now, remember we started at the beginning of the show, we were talking about you danced in an effort to save your life. It saved your life. What happened?
And that's the end of the TEDx talk. So I was invited to the criminal parole trial, and I wasn't planning to do this, but the way I got through it, all the tools I've been building in my whole life, everything I've been teaching just took over. And I danced, I moved, I shook, I breathed, I released, kept moving my body until I was present. And this, I don't even know how to describe, being hit by lightning bolts of energy coming back to me. And I had been working successfully for 30 years. I had no idea that there was something still in there stuck. And when that happened, that's what opened the door to me to publish that book and get the TEDx talk. All that happened in a year.
What's the book called?
Yeah, New York Times Square right now.
I know. I saw that. For everybody, what's the book called?
The Love Ball Game, Embracing Yourself and Embodying Your Soul.
It's actually, and your story is in there for anyone who wants to read it. Yeah. But now you focus on helping other people.
That's right.
Who do you help?
I help, I want to say everyone, whether you're an executive, a busy CEO, a stay-at-home parent, a grandparent, any human who is knowing that there's a few different people who tend to come to me. Either the people who are stuck and they haven't found a self-care regime and a self-love that works, or there's someone who's too busy, or maybe they're people who don't like dance at all, but they want to get comfortable with themselves and they want to know why. So what it does is it breaks through trauma, self-sabotage, self-hate, and you fall in love with yourself. You unstick. People talk about creative power coming back, productivity coming back. I mean, science talks about, the trauma is stored in the body.
Right.
And this course gets it out. It's a 12-week daily program, and it is filled with dances, lessons. This isn't just about exercise. It's not just about meditation. It's not just about coaching. It's the whole shebang. And that's what I've been looking to find. I couldn't stay in any one format because I knew someday I would have to build something all together. And this was just like my enthusiastic masterpiece. I wanted everyone to access it. So I put it online as something that people from anywhere could get to.
My enthusiastic masterpiece. I just got chills over my entire body. Will you look at the audience at home and invite them to come spend time with you?
I would absolutely love to meet you and help support you on your journey. You can find me at www.jaciakornwise, that's with a K, .com. That is how you will find me.
But I want you to look back at them. There's
Yes.
someone out there who's gone through something traumatic and maybe dealing with the traditional sit on the couch and tell me how you feel thing.
Oh boy.
Just talk to them for a second.
So as someone who worked as a therapist, as a coach, as a meditation leader, as a somatic experience practitioner, I also did all those things, trying to heal. But I also brought to my clients and my community my maps with this kind of work that I've translated in a different way onto the online platform. And what happened is they broke through so much quicker, years. People would say, I've been doing years of therapy, and I just got in 12 weeks farther than I have in 7 years. And it is because moving it through the body changes things. And it's what I ultimately resolved after looking at my whole lifespan of healing. I was like, what really has been my magic? Why am I joyful and youthful at my age? What is going on? Why am I still happy? I've had much more traumas than the one I just listed. I shouldn't be this way. And it's the dance. It is the dance that has changed everything. And I'm not talking about lessons. I'm talking about that dance that's inside you, that is who you really are, that comes out.
What's a message that you have for the world?
We were born free, authentically meant to offer our gifts and be the light that we're meant to be. And we're so often taught to look outward to become what other people want you to be, which I absolutely had to do because I wasn't going to fit in. We all do that in some way. And yet who you're really looking for is within. And you can find it that way.
Someone who's dealing with a different ability, something about them is outside of the average, not better or worse. What do you say to them? And tell me, what do you say to them?
I tell them that's what I had to transform. That is a gift when you fully find how it has impacted you and you fall in love with it and you recognize that that difference is needed and exactly what needs to be brought into this humanity, your life changes.
Well, you've made all of us fall in love with you. And you are spectacular on so many levels. Thank you for having the courage to share your story, to write the book, to do a TEDx, to be here as my guest today, because I think that there's a lot of people out there who are just looking at you and going, wow, not only is she beautiful on the outside, she's beautiful on the inside. And if she can do it, so can I.
Maybe so. Thank you.
For all of you joining us today, thank you so very much. We'll be right back after this message.